the silence of the night, the old gallery seemed alive, every painting hiding a secret, waiting to be seen. Have you ever felt that? The feeling that the eyes in a portrait are following you, or that the landscape on the canvas is breathing with a life of its own? That's the feeling that washes over you the moment you step into the Eldridge Gallery after dark. By day, it's a quiet, dusty collection of forgotten masterpieces. Tourists might pass by, occasionally peering through the windows, but few ever enter. But when the moon climbs high and casts long, dancing shadows across the polished floors, the real magic begins. It starts with a whisper, a rustle of painted silk, a faint scent of salt water from a seascape that's been dry for over a century. Take, for instance, The Lady in Blue, a portrait of an unknown woman with eyes that hold a universe of sorrow. At midnight, a single tear, shimmering like a tiny diamond, traces a path down her cheek. Or The Storm at Sea, where the painted waves don't just look like they're crashing, they actually roar, a muffled, distant thunder that you can feel in your chest if you stand close enough. Each brushstroke is a memory, each color a captured emotion, waiting for the quiet of the night to tell its story. It's said that the original curator, a man named Alasdair Eldridge, wasn't just a collector of art, he was a collector of moments. He believed that a true artist doesn't just paint a picture, they trap a piece of a soul on the canvas. And in the stillness of his gallery, those souls stir. The stoic soldier in the battle scene might shift his weight. The laughter from the garden party painting might echo faintly, a ghost of a celebration long past. This isn't just a gallery. It's a library of lives lived, of secrets kept, and of moments frozen in time, only to thaw under the moonlight. It is a reminder that art isn't just something you look at, it's something that looks back. So the next time you're in a quiet museum, pause for a moment, listen closely. You might just hear a story unfolding. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the hidden corners of the world. See you next time. The city lights blurred into a watercolor painting as Elena stared out the taxi window, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. She was finally here at the threshold of the most prestigious art academy in the country. A scholarship, a dream, a one-way ticket to a new life. Stepping onto the cobblestone path of the ancient campus, she felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the cool night air. The grand, ivy-clad building loomed before her, its windows like watchful eyes in the moonlight. This was it. Her first day, or rather, her first night. She pushed open the heavy oak door, the scent of old books, turpentine, and something else. Something indescribably ancient filling her lungs. The orientation was scheduled for the main gallery, a cavernous hall where masterpieces from centuries past hung in silent judgment. Elena clutched her portfolio, a collection of her hopes and fears pressed between two pieces of cardboard. The other students were a blur of confident chatter and expensive clothes, but Elena felt a strange pull, a magnetic force drawing her deeper into the gallery, past the Impressionists, beyond the Renaissance masters. She found herself standing before a single, unassuming portrait tucked away in a dimly lit alcove. It depicted a woman with eyes that seemed to hold all the secrets of the universe. There was no plaque, no artist's name. As Elena gazed into the painted eyes, the sounds of the orientation faded into a distant hum. A whisper, soft as a brushstroke on canvas, seemed to echo in her mind, a voice that wasn't hers, yet felt deeply familiar. It spoke of colors she'd never seen, of emotions she'd never dared to paint. That night, clutching her portfolio, Elena didn't just arrive for her first day. She unknowingly stepped into a legacy, a mystery painted in oil and shadow, a destiny that would reshape not just her art, but the very essence of who she was. This night would change her forever. Thanks for watching. If you were captivated by Elena's story, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. See you in the next video. Eliza, the new curator at the old Blackwood Manor, couldn't shake the old guard's warning. His voice, dim as autumn leaves, echoed in her mind. Never go into that room alone. Where the painting changes itself, he meant the West Gallery, a room locked for decades, housing a single, unsettling portrait of a woman known only as the Lady in Grey. Curiosity, as it often does, got the better of her. One rain-lashed afternoon, she stole the heavy iron key and let herself in. Dust motes danced in the sliver of light from the boarded-up window, and there it was. The painting was larger than she'd imagined, dominating the far wall. The woman in the portrait was severe, her eyes dark and empty, her lips a thin, unforgiving line. Eliza felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the room's chill. She studied the stiff posture, the lace collar, the somber gray dress. Dismissing the old guard's words as folklore, she turned to leave, locking the door behind her. The next day, she returned, determined to document the piece for the museum's inventory. But as she stepped inside, the air felt different, charged. She looked at the painting and her breath caught in her throat. The Lady in Grey was still there, but her expression, it had changed. The thin, straight line of her lips was now curved into a faint, knowing smirk. Her eyes, once empty, now seemed to hold a glint of malevolent amusement. It was impossible. A trick of the light, she told herself, her heart hammering against her ribs. But the following day, the change was undeniable. The woman's head was now slightly tilted, as if listening to a secret. And on the third day, Eliza's blood ran cold. The woman in the painting was no longer looking straight ahead. Her dark eyes were fixed directly on the door, on the very spot where Eliza stood. The smirk had widened into a grin, and one of her hands, previously hidden in the folds of her dress, was now raised, its slender fingers resting delicately against the painted frame, as if she were about to step right out. Eliza finally understood the old guard's terror. She wasn't just looking at a painting. The painting was looking back. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this spooky story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you next time. Hello, story lovers, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever felt that irresistible pull towards something you know you shouldn't touch? That little voice that whispers, just one peek. Well, that's exactly where our story begins today. Imagine this. You're walking down a long, dim corridor, maybe in an old library or a forgotten wing of a museum. The air is thick with the sense of dust and secrets. Most doors are plain, unassuming, but then you see it. One door at the very end of the hall stands out. It's made of heavy, dark wood, with a tarnished brass plaque that reads, in stern, block letters, restricted area. Your logical mind says, turn around, it's not for you. But your curiosity is screaming. Because this isn't just any locked door. From the crack beneath it, a faint, otherworldly glow is leaking out. It's not the harsh yellow of a light bulb, but a soft, pulsating light, maybe a shimmering blue or a warm, gentle gold. It seems to breathe, to call out. What could possibly be behind that door? A forgotten piece of technology? A portal to another dimension? Or something far more ancient and magical? The sign is a warning, but the light is an invitation. Every instinct tells you that opening that door could change everything. It's a classic dilemma, isn't it? The conflict between safety and discovery, between rules and the unknown. You can feel the cold metal of the doorknob under your palm, even though you haven't touched it yet. The lock looks old, but the glow feels timeless. What would you do in that moment? Would you walk away, forever wondering? Or would you take a deep breath and try the handle, ready to face whatever lies within that mysterious glowing room? The possibilities are endless, and that's the magic of a good story. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey into the imagination. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. I'd love to hear your theories about what's behind the door in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring. Have you ever seen a piece of art that just gets under your skin? Something that pulls you in, but at the same time, makes you want to look away? I'm not talking about your typical scary movie poster. I'm talking about a feeling, a deep, unsettling chill that has no logical explanation. That's exactly what happened at the old Beaumont Gallery last Tuesday. It was a normal afternoon with the usual quiet murmurs of art lovers and the soft shuffling of feet on polished wood floors. Then something changed. Right there, on a wall that had been emptied just an hour before, a new painting appeared. No one saw it being hung. No one knew where it came from. It was just there. The painting was a portrait of a woman. On the surface, she was beautiful, with a gentle, almost inviting smile playing on her lips. It was the kind of smile that should make you feel warm and welcome. But it didn't, because when you looked into her eyes, all that warmth vanished. Her eyes were cold, not just sad or distant, but utterly devoid of life, like two polished stones at the bottom of a frozen lake. It felt like you were staring into an abyss. The gallery staff were baffled. Security footage showed nothing but a brief flicker, a split second of static right when the painting must have materialized. As word got out, people flocked to see the ghost portrait. They'd stand before it, mesmerized. They'd comment on her lovely smile, but then their voices would drop to a whisper as they met her gaze. Her eyes, they'd say, it's like she's looking right through you, into your darkest secrets. Some say it's a prank, a clever publicity stunt. Others believe it's something else, a warning maybe, or a soul trapped in canvas. Whatever the truth is, one thing is for sure, the woman in the painting is smiling, but behind that smile lies a story we may never understand. A coldness that haunts you long after you've walked away. What do you think is going on? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you're intrigued by mysteries like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more strange stories. Thanks for watching and stay curious. The old house stood silhouetted against a bruised, twilight sky. Locals in the nearby village spoke of it in hushed tones, trading stories of strange lights and phantom whispers carried on the wind. They called it Blackwood Manor, and for as long as anyone could remember, it had been empty. But I, Elena, had always been drawn to the forgotten and the mysterious. Armed with a flashlight and a healthy dose of skepticism, I pushed open the heavy oak door. It groaned in protest, the sound echoing through the cavernous, dust-choked hall. Moonlight streamed through grimy, floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating swirling dust motes that danced like tiny spirits. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing faded portraits on the walls, their eyes seeming to follow my every move. The air was thick with the scent of decay and damp earth, so cold it seemed to cling to my skin. I moved deeper into the house, my footsteps muffled by layers of dust on the marble floor. I explored the grand ballroom, the derelict library with books rotting on their shelves, and the once majestic dining room, now home only to spiders. It was on the second floor, in what must have been a child's bedroom, that I first felt it. A sudden drop in temperature, so intense that my breath plumed in front of me. The flashlight flickered erratically. I tapped it against my palm, and the beam steadied, landing on a small, ornate music box on a dusty dresser. It was intricately carved, with a delicate ballerina frozen mid-twirl on top. An inexplicable pull drew me towards it. My fingers hovered over the tiny winding key, a strange curiosity battling the primal urge to run. As I stepped closer, a chilling stillness fell over the room. Every sound ceased, even the creaking of the old house. I froze, my hand suspended in midair. That's when I heard it. Not with my ears, but inside my head. a whisper that was both fragile and terrifyingly clear. It was the voice of a young girl, laced with a desperate loneliness that sent a shiver straight down my spine. "You can see me, can't you?" My heart hammered against my ribs. I slowly turned, my flashlight beam trembling, scanning the empty, shadow-filled corners of the room. I was no longer alone. Thanks for joining me on this chilling adventure. If you enjoyed this story and want to find out what happens next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. See you in the next one. Hey everyone, gather round, because I have a story that's going to send a chill down your spine. Imagine this, a beautiful old house, the kind with secrets soaked into its very walls. In the grandest room, right above the fireplace, hangs a painting. It's been there for generations, a silent observer of family history, its eyes seeming to follow you as you move. It's a bit eerie, sure, but it's part of the house, part of its soul. One night, a fierce storm rages outside. Thunder rattles the windows and lightning flashes, briefly illuminating the portrait, making it look almost alive. The family huddles together, telling stories to pass the time, occasionally glancing up at the familiar face in the frame. They feel safe, cocooned in their home. Eventually, the storm subsides and everyone drifts off to bed, the house falling into a deep, quiet slumber. But the next morning, something is wrong. The air feels different, lighter somehow. You walk into the grand room and your breath catches in your throat. The wall above the fireplace is bare. The painting is gone. Not stolen, not fallen, it has simply vanished. As if it had never existed. But here's the truly unsettling part. Where the painting once hung, the wall isn't clean. Faint, dark marks remain, outlining the shape of the frame like a ghost, a photographic negative burned into the plaster. The family is baffled. There are no signs of a break-in, no footprints. Nothing is out of place except for the massive, empty space on the wall. It's as if the painting just decided to leave. Where did it go? And what do those strange marks mean? Was it a warning? A message from the past? The mystery of the vanished portrait became a new legend in the house. A story whispered in hushed tones, a constant reminder that some things in this world can't be explained. What do you think happened? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you love a good mystery, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that will keep you guessing. Thanks for listening. Have you ever had a dream that felt so real you could almost touch it? A dream that lingered long after you woke up, its whispers echoing in the quiet corners of your mind? That's what happened to Elena. One night, a dream took hold of her, a vision so vivid it blurred the lines between her world and another. In this dream, she stood in a dimly lit art studio, the air thick with the scent of oil paint and turpentine. Before her was an easel, and on it, a portrait. But this wasn't just any portrait. It was a woman with eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets, her face a canvas of unspoken stories. The painting was breathtaking, yet unfinished. Patches of raw canvas peeked through like missing pieces of a puzzle. Then the woman in the painting moved. Her painted lips parted, and a voice, soft as a sigh, filled the room. It was a whisper that felt like a cool breeze on a hot summer night, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Elena felt a chill crawl up her spine, not of fear, but of profound, inexplicable connection. The voice spoke her name. Elena. It whispered, each syllable a gentle caress. The painted eyes locked onto hers, pleading, yearning. My colors are incomplete, Elena. Finish them for me. The words hung in the air, a fragile, desperate plea. It wasn't a demand, but an invitation, a legacy being passed from one soul to another. A destiny waiting to be fulfilled. When Elena woke up, her heart was pounding. The dream felt more real than the morning light streaming through her window. The woman's face was seared into her memory, and her whispered words echoed in her ears. Finish them for me. It was a call she couldn't ignore. Elena knew with a certainty that settled deep in her bones that this wasn't just a dream. It was the beginning of a journey, a mystery she was meant to solve, one brushstroke at a time. What do you think she should do? Let me know in the comments below. If you're intrigued by Elena's story and want to see where this mysterious dream leads her, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Have you ever heard of a painting completed by a ghost? Well, settle in, because the story behind the unfinished masterpiece is one of the art world's most chilling and debated mysteries. This isn't just any painting. At first glance, it's a breathtakingly beautiful portrait of a woman, her eyes filled with a story you can't quite decipher. The detail is exquisite, the colors are vibrant, and the emotion it evokes is palpable. For years, it hung in a private collection, celebrated as the pinnacle of the artist's career. But experts always notice something odd, something incomplete. A single, almost invisible, brushstroke was missing from the corner of the subject's smile. A tiny detail, but one that seemed to hold the entire painting's soul in its absence. For decades, the mystery of this missing stroke was a favorite topic among art historians. Why would an artist at the height of his powers leave his greatest work just shy of perfection? Was it a statement? A mistake? The theories were endless. But the truth, when it finally emerged, was far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Recently, through the discovery of the artist's long-lost personal journals, the story was pieced together. The artist, Elias Vance, had been working on this very portrait, his muse in love, when he suffered a sudden, fatal heart attack in his studio. His journal entry from that fateful day was haunting. He wrote, "Just one final stroke to capture her perfect smile, and my soul will be forever on this canvas." He died, brush in hand, literally moments before placing that final touch. So how was the painting finished? Here's where it gets truly unbelievable. The collector who bought the painting from Vance's estate swore that when he received it, the painting was complete. He remembered seeing the finished smile. The artist's family, however, insisted it was unfinished when it was sold. Over the years, witnesses have given conflicting accounts. Some who have seen the painting swear the smile is complete, while others are adamant that the final stroke is missing. It's as if the painting itself can't decide if it's finished. The legend now says that Elias Vance's spirit, forever tied to his final work, occasionally returns to his masterpiece, attempting to complete that one last stroke of love. So the next time you see a piece of art that moves you, remember Elias Vance. It might just be that the artist poured more than just paint into it. They might have left a piece of their very soul. Thanks for joining me on this dive into art's great mysteries. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're re-diving into a story that will make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's the tale of Elena and the Forbidden Door. Elena had lived in the old manor her whole life, a sprawling estate filled with forgotten rooms and dusty corridors. But there was one door at the very end of the west wing that her grandmother had always forbidden her to open. "Some doors are best left locked," she'd say, her voice a low whisper. But curiosity, as we know, is a powerful force. One rainy afternoon, with the house quiet and the sky a gloomy gray, Elena found an old, ornate key tucked away in a music box. She knew instinctively where it belonged. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she approached the forbidden door. The air grew colder, and a strange, musty smell, like dried flowers and old paper, filled her nostrils. With a trembling hand, she slid the key into the lock. It turned with a sickening crunch. The door creaked open, revealing a small, windowless room. The sight that met her eyes made her blood run cold. Hanging from the walls, like macabre trophies, were dozens of human faces. They weren't paintings or masks. They were real, preserved with a terrifying, lifelike quality. Their eyes were wide, their mouths agape in silent screams. Elena staggered back, a gasp caught in her throat. She wanted to run, to slam the door and forget what she'd seen. But something held her frozen to the spot. Drawn by a morbid fascination, her gaze swept across the gallery of horrors. There were faces of all ages, men and women, their expressions a chilling mix of shock and terror. And then, in the far corner, almost hidden in the shadows, she saw it. A face that was hauntingly familiar. Her own. It was undeniably her, captured at that very moment. The same wide, terrified eyes. The same open mouth, about to scream. The same strand of hair falling across her forehead. It wasn't just a likeness. It was a perfect, horrifying reflection. As she stared at her own face hanging on the wall, the heavy door behind her slowly, deliberately, began to swing shut, plunging her into complete darkness. What do you think happened to Elena? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more spine-chilling tailies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt so lost in your art that it feels like it's creating itself? That's what happened to Elena. One evening, bathed in the soft glow of her studio lamp, she stood before a blank canvas, brush in hand. She intended to paint a simple landscape, something to calm her restless mind. But as her brush touched the canvas, something shifted. It was as if a current of energy shot up her arm. The colors on her palette seemed to glow with a life of their own. Elena's hand began to move with a will it didn't possess just moments before. Deep crimsons, sapphire blues, and shimmering golds swirled together, not in the gentle strokes of a landscape, but in the bold, passionate curves of a human figure. A woman began to emerge from the chaos of color. She had eyes that held ancient secrets and a smile that was both inviting and haunting. Elena tried to pull back, to regain control, but her hand wouldn't obey. It danced across the canvas, guided by an unseen force. She felt a strange presence fill the room, a whisper in the back of her mind that wasn't her own. It spoke of forgotten ballrooms and moonlit gardens. It was the woman from the painting. She wasn't just on the canvas anymore. She was inside Elena, using her hands to bring herself back to life. The scent of old parchment and dried roses filled the air. Elena was no longer just the artist. She was the vessel. Her heartbeat matched the rhythm of the brushstrokes, a frantic, beautiful dance between two souls in one body. The world outside her studio faded away. There was only the canvas, the colors, and the woman who was now painting her own portrait through Elena's hands. Each stroke added another layer to the story, another piece of a life lived long ago. Elena wasn't afraid. She was mesmerized. She had become a conduit for memory, a bridge between the past and the present. The painting wasn't just a painting anymore, it was a resurrection. And as the final brushstroke was laid, a single tear, not her own, rolled down Elena's cheek. The woman on the canvas was finally complete, and for a moment, two spirits shared the same breath. What do you think happened next? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe for more tailies from the edge of creativity. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel where we explore the most baffling mysteries from around the world. Today, we're diving into a story that blurs the line between art and the uncanny, a tale that still sends shivers down the spines of those who know it. This is the chilling story of Elena's portrait. Our story begins in a quiet, prestigious art gallery known for its collection of classical masterpieces. For weeks, a new painting had been the talk of the town. It was a portrait of a woman named Elena, a figure shrouded in local legend. The artist, a recluse named Julian, had captured her with haunting precision. Her smile was enigmatic, but it was her eyes that truly captivated anyone who dared to look closely. They were beautiful, yet held a profound emptiness, a lifeless quality that seemed to follow you around the room. Visitors would stand before the portrait for hours, some claiming they felt a strange, cold draft as they gazed into her eyes. Others whispered that the painting seemed to change subtly when you weren't looking directly at it. The gallery staff, at first, dismissed these as overactive imaginations, but soon, even they started to feel an unnerving presence in the main hall, especially after closing time. Objects would be slightly moved, and faint whispers seemed to echo from the direction of the portrait. The mystery deepened when the gallery owner, a man named Mr. Abernathy, reported the painting stolen. But this was no ordinary art heist. There was no sign of forced entry, and all the alarms were silent. It was as if the painting had simply vanished into thin air. The police were baffled. They interviewed Julian, the artist, but he was as perplexed as anyone. He claimed he had simply painted a woman from an old photograph he found, a woman whose story he knew nothing about. Days turned into weeks, and the case grew colder. Then, one morning, the gallery's security guard made a bone-chilling discovery. The gallery was silent, too silent. On the wall, where Elena's portrait once hung, there was a new painting. It was another portrait of Elena, but this one was different. Her smile was wider, almost a triumphant grin. And her eyes, they were the same lifeless eyes, but now they seemed to be staring directly at the viewer, filled with a dark, knowing secret. The police arrived to a scene of absolute stillness. The silence in the gallery as heavy and unnerving as the gaze in the new portrait. To this day, no one knows who painted the second portrait or what truly happened to the first one. Some say Elena's spirit is tied to the canvas, forever watching, forever smiling. What do you think happened? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next mysterious tale. Thanks for watching, and stay curious. Every painting tells a story. The gentle brushstrokes, the blend of colors, the subject staring back at you. They all whisper secrets from a time long past. But have you ever wondered what happens when a painting whispers back? I'm not talking about a gentle murmur. I'm talking about a hiss that curls into your ear, a voice that promises wonders while it coils around your very soul. Tonight, we delve into the chilling tale of the Alara portrait, better known to those who've heard its call as the Whispering Painting. It first appeared in a dusty antique shop in Prague, a stunning depiction of a woman with eyes that seemed to follow you, not with judgment, but with a sorrow so profound it could break your heart. The shop owner, an old man named Stefan, would warn potential buyers. "She speaks," he'd say, his voice trembling slightly. "But do not listen. Her sadness is a trap." Most dismissed it as a sales tactic, a bit of folklore to increase the painting's value. But a young, ambitious art collector named Julian couldn't resist. He was fascinated by the story, by the sheer artistry, by the legend. He bought the painting, ignoring Stefan's final, desperate plea, "Don't let her know you can hear her." Julian hung the masterpiece in his study, and for the first few nights, all was quiet. He felt a sense of peace, a connection to the art. Then the whispers began. Faint at first, like the rustling of leaves. They spoke of lost loves, of forgotten dreams, of a loneliness that mirrored the hollow parts of Julian's own heart. He found himself drawn to the painting, spending hours just listening. The whispers grew clearer, weaving stories of breathtaking beauty and tragic loss. Julian started isolating himself, canceling meetings, ignoring calls from friends. His world shrank until it was just him, his study, and the voice of Alara. He began to change. His once vibrant face became gaunt, his eyes mirroring the sorrow in the portrait. His friends, finally breaking down his door, found him sitting before the painting, a vacant smile on his face, muttering fragments of the stories she told him. He was physically there, but his essence, his spirit, it was gone. Trapped within the canvas, another layer of pigment in the sad, knowing eyes of Alara. They say every painting tells a story, but some stories steal the soul of those who listen. This was The Whispering Painting, and you've just unlocked the hidden chapter. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, be careful what stories you listen to in the dark.